ABC sitcom Full House debuted in the fall of 1987.
Full House was like 3 men and a baby, except it was 3 men and 3 little ladies.
Stand-up comedian Dave Coulier joined the show to play Danny Tanner's best buddy, Joey Gladstone.
Dave Coulier brought his goofball humor to the show.
Hey, come on now, cut it out.
His silly voices irritated some viewers so much that they wanted to punch the TV screen.
Dave Coulier grew up imitating his friends and family.
I used to sit on the front porch with my brother Dan, and we used to call it narrating the neighborhood. And we would each take a character walking down the street of our neighbors, and we'd just do their voices.
It wasn't long before the Motown native took his talents to the stand-up stage.
All my friends became lawyers and doctors and engineers and, had these credible careers. And there I was telling jokes.
He was shocked when his first shot at work in Hollywood immediately landed him a plum job.
So I put this 3.5-minute voice tape together. I sent it to Hanna-Barbera on a Friday, and on Monday they called me and said, "We want you to work on Scooby-Doo." So Scooby-Doo was actually the first show that I ever worked on.
In the mid-'80s, Dave joined Jim Henson's Muppet Babies.
I picked up Animal and Bunsen Honeydew, and then they said, "Can you do the voices of the 2 old men in the balcony?"
More! Less!
And I said, "Yeah, they kind of sound like this, don't they?" "Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's about it."
At night, Dave continued to refine his comedy act, and in 1987, he hit the stand-up peak.
The Tonight Show, when Johnny Carson was hosting, which years ago, that was the only show that you did as a stand-up. So that was a huge hurdle for me.
That same year, he landed the role of Joey Gladstone on the sitcom Full House, working alongside another comedian, Bob Saget.
I had been friends with Saget since 1979. Actually, when I was between apartments, I actually slept on his couch for a couple of weeks while he was on the road. And then when Full House started, here we were, and I moved into the house and slept on his couch.
Originally, the show was going to be called House of Comics. They were going to have 3 comedians living under one roof, raising 3 girls.
The critics hated us.
Full House was great and lousy.
They just said this show is just terrible. It's 3 guys raising 3 girls. Yeah, right. This could happen.
Everyone watched just because he was on TV.
Despite the early criticism, by season 2, the offbeat show was a hit.
We struck a chord with people in a very, in a very kind of weird, dysfunctional family structure on television, and for that, I'm very proud.
The cast were becoming celebrities.
We started to really realize that the show was becoming a monster when TV Guide started asking us if we'd be on the cover.
Full House was a great show. You had the Olsen twins. They were cute, and it was a time when they were actually eating.
Coming up, Alanis Morissette takes a bitter bite out of Dave Coulier.
Yes, he dated Alanis Morissette. Yeah, I think she talked about him in the song.
What do you want me to say?
Full House was a sweet sitcom, cute. They tried to be edgy, but I don't think they really were.
Dave Coulier was meant to be the comic element of the show. He was like the goofy man-child who'd never really grown up.
In 1992, Dave Coulier met pop singer Alanis Morissette at a celebrity hockey tournament. The 2 briefly dated before Dave ended the relationship.
Yes, he dated Alanis Morissette. Yeah, I think she talked about him in the song.
Morissette's smash album Jagged Little Pill contained a bitter breakup song called You Oughta Know. Dave first heard it on the radio.
I said, wow, this girl's angry. And then I said, oh, man, I think it's Alanis. And so I stopped my car and I listened to the rest of the song, drove right to the store, bought the CD, and I listened to it right there in the parking lot. And there was some really personal stuff in there that we had shared and talked about.
I interviewed Dave and asked him about it, and he said, well, you have to ask Alanis. And I asked Alanis about it, and Alanis was like, well, that song's about whatever you want it to be about.
I called her and I said, hi, what do you want me to say? And she said, you can say whatever you want.
Alanis, you should have written a song called What the Hell Was I Thinking?
And then we saw each other, and we hung out for an entire day. And it was beautiful. It was one of those things where it was just kind of like, okay, we're good.
In 1995, Dave was as busy as he'd ever be, but it was all about to end.
I was doing 4 series at the same time. I was doing the Real Ghostbusters cartoon on ABC. I was doing the Muppet Babies on CBS. I was doing America's Funniest People on ABC for 4 seasons and Full House for 8 seasons on ABC. They all ended within 2 months of each other.
Whatever happened to Dave Coulier? He initially went back to stand-up, but the spark was gone.
And I realized I was having this internal conversation in front of 13,000 people while I was telling jokes, and it scared me. It really frightened me, and I walked off stage and I didn't do stand-up for almost 10 years.
Dave decided to combine his celebrity with a love for hockey to raise money for charity.
There was this celebrity charity all-star team. I thought, wow, here's something where I can help people and do something that I love at the same time.
Lean and shoot, all with the wrists.
Dave was able to realize a childhood dream. He skated with hockey great Gordie Howe.
He was my idol growing up, and to be able to say, you know, I took an afternoon and skated with my idol, Gordie Howe. It's just, I can't top that story.
Dave Coulier plays a lot of celebrity pickup hockey. He manages to play games with Jason Priestley and all these other Canadian Hollywood actors who are out there.
At one game, he found a love match with former Full House star Candace Cameron.
You could see immediately that there were sparks there. And, you know, they've been together ever since and now have 3 kids. So I'm kind of like Cupid.
In 2004, Dave joined season 3 of VH1's Surreal Life with Brigitte Nielsen and Flavor Flav. And in 2006, he laced up with Olympic figure skater Nancy Kerrigan on Skating with the Stars.
She looked at me and she said, okay, you can skate fast and you're funny, so let's go with that.
Dave has reunited with Bob Saget, and they're working on a mockumentary called Farce of the Penguins.
They're both still doing stand-up, although Bob's routine is much more raunchy.
Bob, off stage and in his stand-up act, always kind of remained true to who he really is, which is just a filthy garbage can mouth.
Dave Coulier shaves his tell your friends. Anyway.
Everybody comes up to me and says, hey, you know, Bob talks about, and I'm like, yeah, I know. So, you know, I just can't go there. That's just not my style.
Dave's Full House fans come out to see what Joey Gladstone is saying today.
Well, I grew up watching Full House, and I'm very excited to see what he's like in real life.
We'll grab some for us, everybody. I'll see you in the van. Yeah, that's Scooby Snacks. That's who I want, you know, protecting me.
You know, seeing these stars, and you never think you're gonna, you know, meet them, and it's a good chance to, you know, relive your childhood.
To me, it's a very comforting place, and I think it's due to the fact that over the years, it's just been me at that microphone, and I've come to just be able to count on myself.